I like that you're all laughing before I start. So, it's been quite a gauntlet this week. I've been a little under the weather and I had this committed to memory, but let's be honest, most of us felt like we were going to throw up all day. Because it's been a dedicated day today. But on behalf of the families, I want to thank you all for coming and thank you for being here. There's only X amount of people they can put in this hot box, and either consider yourself lucky or unlucky that you're one of those people. Some people didn't make the list, so here you are. I mean, just because like you're a grandparent doesn't automatically mean you're invited. So, congratulations, pat yourself on the back, you're a winner. Neil talked to me before I gave my speech, and he gave me some ground rules, so I'm going to explain those to you. First off, Neil said this isn't a roast of Mark, and I said okay. So what that means is this: there are not 3 or 4 other people who are going to help me make fun of Mark. I have to do it all on my own. Which means I have to take it to a really high level. That's what Neil meant, okay? He also said don't mention anything about hair. So I'm not going to do that either. That's a personal joke between him and I. These plugs are yours, baby. You just asked for them. Okay, they're still yours. They're still yours. Mark and I have been friends for 27 years. And we're only 28, so that's really amazing. My bus stop was at Mark's house, which was a mile away from my house because South Haven Public Schools has it together. So my dad used to pick me up on the 4-wheeler from Mark's house and take me home. That's how I kind of met Mark. And then sometimes, we had a family business, so he was late, so then I just had to hang out with Mark and I forced him to be my friend. And so it was good. And so you're supposed to work on what you have in common, and I'm supposed to talk about me and Mark, and then I'm supposed to talk about Wonder and Mark, and then I'm supposed to give him advice. That's what I Googled, just like Dad. Way to go with using the internets. So I sat down and I started thinking about what me and Mark have in common, and the truth is we have absolutely nothing in common. No, really. I went to private school, Mark went to public school, okay? I was a Nintendo kid, Mark was Sega. I rooted for the Cubs, he rooted for the Tigers, I rooted for the Bears, he rooted for the Lions. All those teams suck. All of them. None of them will ever win anything. Stop getting your hopes up. Maybe rely on the stock market instead. It's more stable. Don't rely on the stock market. That's a bad idea. So we had different parents. My mom, I love her to death, but she left our house exactly the same for 30 years. And Cindy remodeled the house every 2 weeks. It was so confusing. I used to go there every day, and I wouldn't know where to go or what we were doing. You could have hired a small Mexican boy to hand out maps. Maybe a small Pablo or something, maybe an Ivan, and he could have told us where we needed to go. There was one room that started as a garage, and then it was a playroom, then it was a living room, and then it became a computer room, and then it was a bedroom, and then it became a living room and Mark's bedroom again. And that's not a lie, those are facts. I love you like another mother, Cindy, but it is what it is. So that was our childhood, confusion about residential quarters. I think Mark even lived there and he didn't know where he was going. So that was a good time. Mark went to Cedar Point, I went to Six Flags. Mark went to summer camp, I lived in a summer camp. Mark told me Cecil Fielder was mostly muscle, and I respectfully disagreed. And I wear glasses now, and Mark doesn't. But when we were kids, I didn't wear glasses, and Mark had the Sally Jesse Raphael glasses. Who remembers that? You remember that? He could have robbed the bank, and they could have shot at him, and his glasses would have saved him. Bulletproof. And that picture is still in your room. Dude, you need to get rid of that. And a sweater. We all had sweaters back there. so as we got older, and I don't understand this, but we kept doing different things, but we were still at best of friends. I mean, there was some stuff we did together, like catch frogs in the ditch, because we had really responsible parents. And we used to wage war on the snowplow because that was the undoing of our snow days. So we used to throw snowballs at them. If the parents are just finding out about this, I'm sorry. And so we got older and we went to high school and we kept doing different things, but we remained friends, you know. Mark used to make a lot of fun of me because I dated redheads that were younger than me. And by a lot younger, his standard was 2 years. These two are 7 years apart, right? 7. You know, because it's state law in Michigan that a Compton has to marry or date a blonde. You know, like Stan, or Jay, or Brady, or Neil, or Hank, or Scott. There's probably more, but those are good examples so that everyone understands the joke. So this is really serious. I don't know if there's going to be a warrant out for his arrest, which is a conflict of interest for me. I'm a duly sworn peace officer of this state, and it would be really unfortunate if I had to haul you in, bro. But the family's going to accept you, because there was a lot of controversy when they first started dating, and it was mainly because she wasn't blonde. So that was mostly it. So we got older and we kept doing different things. I went to the Western Michigan University. Mark went someplace else. I'm not entirely sure where. I don't think it's really important to the story. But as different as we were from each other, our friendship was also drastically different than anybody else in our high school. I don't think anybody else watched Return of the Jedi entirely in slow motion to see if they were hiding something in the background. Mark and I did that. It took a whole day. And it was like a nice day where we could have done something better, but we didn't. We watched Return of the Jedi in slow motion. And we shouldn't have watched the credits. What were they going to hide in the credits? Nothing. It was just words and space in the background. But we did it because we didn't want to miss anything. And we found many an amazing delight in the background, like other stuff that we didn't see when we watched the movie normally. And we have traditions that are just between him and I. For instance, when Mark and I call each other on the phone, we think of the most absolutely disgusting theme, concept, or thing we can say to each other, and that's our greeting for each other. And I mean, I'm not even going to give you an example, because they're all absolutely horrible. And so one time I was calling Mark and Cindy answered the phone. And she was like, "What?" I was like, "What did you hear?" Nothing, it just sounded like mumbling. I was like, "That's what it was." Mumbling. And I'm like, "Cindy, I'm so sorry. Why do you answer Mark's phone? It's not yours. Don't answer it." So embarrassed. I'm still embarrassed about that. I'm still embarrassed. And we listened to different music. Nobody I knew listens to Bloodhound Gang or Cake or Nada Surf or Beck. We listened to those groups. See, everybody's like, I want to know what he's talking about, but I don't know, because that was just us. And we grew up with a great gang of guys, you know, playing football down at Grandma Compton's, where we would get lemonade and chocolate chip cookies. And we just always thought we would be friends together. And the one way I never thought I would see this day was without Clark. You know, I never envisioned today without him being here. And traditionally, you're supposed to give a moment of silence for people, but Clark never gave me a moment of silence in my life. We had a computer class together, and our TA was named Kushal, so we called each other Kushal's homeboys. He was from India, and whenever class was really, really quiet, Clark would just yell out something randomly to throw him off. And I just missed that guy, and I thought he needed to be brought up again. I know he's brought up in church, but you know, Clark's here with us today, and I just think he needs to be pointed out. So I really miss that guy. So there's been some girls that Mark has dated, and Mark has said a lot of good things about a lot of girls he's dated, but I'll be honest, I really didn't like any of her girlfriends. So that's how I knew that you two were going to get married, because I really liked you, Wonder. I can't quite put my finger on it why I like you, but I really do. And it's just wonderful that the two of you have such a friendship. And I think that's the most important thing on building the relationship, because you're going to get really old and not be athletic or good looking anymore, or have to help each other, wipe each other's butts and stuff like that, and can't always be about how hot you are, you know, because that's not going to work. But I think you guys are really friends and you really enjoy being together, and so that's really great to see. And hang on, second page, pause, intermission, like Lawrence of Arabia, there's a song in the middle. So here's the point where I give you guys some advice. Mark, everybody will tell you that you need to roll over and die in your marriage. And as your best man, I would be a recluse to give you the same advice. My advice to you is once a month, pick a fight over something that doesn't matter, just to let her know you're still alive. You don't want to wake up one morning and find out you're Poland 1940 and you've just been run over. So make sure you do that. And Wonder, they tell me you really want kids, but you also really like to sleep. So my advice to you is to pick one you like more. And stick with that one. Because you're not getting both of them. Unless you drug your kids, then you're going to be on the news. But on a serious note, remember that marriage isn't a Hollywood movie. You know, you both have to give more than you take, and that doesn't really add up mathematically to one. If you both give like 3/4, it's supposed to be 1.5, but it's not. And if you do that, you'll both always be happy and both always be in love. So always try to give more than you take, and always try to do more for the other person than you've ever done for yourself. You guys will have a long and happy marriage, and you'll be able to be great-grandpa giving a speech someday like that. So that's going to be great. And remember, when everything goes wrong and you can't hack it at real life, you can always just come home and take over the family business. That's what the Subers or the Comptons or the Spencers or like the Zuckermans or the Gieslers or anyone else inside. So there's that. So I look forward to our kids being able to grow up together like we did, and even if they're totally opposite, that they can be as good friends as we are. And we're truly blessed to have the childhood that we have, and I think we're going to be even more blessed to see our kids grow up together like we did. So I look forward to you being back in town as a total failure, prodigal son. And we have so many good days ahead of us. So this is just the beginning. It's just a ceremony. You know in your hearts you've already been married. So I'm really happy for the two of you, but I'm just as happy for myself that I'm going to get you back, because I'm a jealous person, so Wonder's going to have to share him. But here's a toast to my best friend in America, Mark Compton, and to his beautiful bride, Wonder Haas. We have many years together. Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, stick around. We have first dances on the way, and then the dance floor will be available to our guests momentarily.